CIET NCERT presents audiobook Khel Yatra, textbook of physical education and well-being for grade 8.
Page 7. On the top left side of the page, you will find the QR code. Scanning the QR code will take you to the additional resources about this chapter. At the top right corner of the page, there is a picture of two children. One is standing with hands stretched out, and the other one is bent over trying to touch his feet. Unit 1. Foundations of Physical Education and Well-being. This unit explores the link between physical activity and personal growth, integrating fitness, mental resilience, teamwork, and safety awareness with foundational concepts from physics and biology. Through engaging activities, students will learn how principles like balance, force, motion, and gravity affect their movements, while understanding how muscles, bones, respiration, and circulation support physical performance. They will build motivation, courage, and discipline by tackling physical challenges, tracking their progress, and committing to self improvement. Additionally, students will be guided to recognize and report bullying, mental health concerns, and inappropriate behavior, fostering a safe, respectful, and supportive environment for everyone. Page 8. FPE 1. Horse Vault Race. Horse Vault Race is a unique athletic competition in which participants vault over each other to complete the race. Warm up, sidewalk, backwalks, jogging drills. Activity: horse vault race. Cool down, forward and backward lunges. Circle time, good technique. How to play. Point 1. Make pairs of students that are of almost similar height and weight. Point 2. Among each pair, one student will play the horse by bending over and with their chin touching their sternum, chest bone, and squatting on all fours, keeping all the safety measures and degrees of difficulty in mind. Point 3. The other student will carefully jump over the horse played by the first student. Point 4. As the activity continues, the pair will alternately jump and take on the role of horse. Point 5. The game is won by the pair that crosses the finish line first. Page 9. On the top of the page, there are pictures of 3 pairs of children demonstrating physical activity. In each pair, one child is bent over while the another child is placing their hands on the first child's back and vaults or jump over them. Variations. Sideways jumps may be included at a later stage. Circle time. Good technique. Compare techniques with other students on how they cross the vault. Circle time. Good technique. Point 1. Compare techniques with other students on how they cross the vault. Discuss whose jump was more efficient and why. Point 2. Discuss how better balance can be maintained by students while in the vault position. Point 3. Discuss how improving our own skills gives us a feeling of holistic happiness. Page 10. FPE 2. Progressive Mass Drill. Progressive mass drill involves a series of coordinated movements that will be performed together in sync on a count of 8. They are made to be enjoyable while helping students in developing their strength, flexibility, and rhythmic movement. Warm up, head to toe stretching, activity, progressive mass drill, cool down, slow or static stretching, circle time, major muscles. How to play. Point 1. Students will be arranged in rows with one arm's distance between them. Point 2. Students will perform freehand activities. Point 3. The teacher will count out loud from 1 to 8, and the demonstrator will perform the exercises from a raised platform facing the students. Point 4. Other students will imitate the demonstrator's movements in sync on the counts. Point 5. The difficulty level of the drill can be increased by the suggested variations. Page 11. On the top of the page, there is a picture of children standing in 4 rows with their legs wide open and arms stretched. They are facing an instructor who is on the stage with legs wide open and arms stretched. Variations. Point 1. Drum beats can be used for the counts. Point 2. Freehand activities can be replaced by holding any objects: stick, dumbbell, ball, umbrella, rope, hoops, ribbon, etc. Note for the teacher. The teacher will help the students in identifying the names of the major muscles in their arms and legs. Circle time. Major muscles. Point 1. Feel the muscles that are involved while doing the activities. Discuss how the activities can be performed in different ways and how the muscles might feel different then. Point 2. Think about how synchronizing actions with vocal commands or music and maintaining coordination with peers gives us a feeling of holistic pleasure. Page 12. FPE 3. Baraf Pani is an effective activity for learning about the ill effects of bullying and encouraging upstanders to reduce the impact of bullying. Students may explore various viewpoints: those of the bully, the victim, the bystanders, and the upstanders. Warm up. Leaping, skipping, and jumping, hip and pelvic muscle stretch. Activity: Baraf Pani. Cool down. Arm swinging, shoulder shrug, hamstring stretch, calf stretch. Circle time. Role of upstanders. How to play. Point 1. Bully. The one doing the act of bullying. Point 2. The target. The victim of bullying. 3. Bystanders. Individuals who observe bullying. 4. Upstander. A bystander who chooses to take action. Point 1. One student will be the bully and another will be the upstander. Point 2. The others in the group are bystanders and victims. Point 3. All the victims and the bystanders will be running away from the bully. Page 13. Point 4. The bully will try to chase all the students while saving themselves from the upstander. Point 6. When the bully tags the victim, they should not move and hold the position they are in. Point 6. Bystanders can tap victims to unfreeze them, but they have to use a reassuring remark such as "You are not alone" or "I am with you" while tapping. Point 7. The bully can be stopped by the upstander if they tag them and say, "Stop, that's not okay." Point 8. Keep switching roles among students to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to play each role. Circle time. Role of upstanders. Point 1. Discuss how you felt while playing each role. Point 2. Discuss how upstanders can help stop bullying in real life. There is a picture on the top of the page of 4 children standing outdoors. On the left, the girl appears to be sad with hand on her face. There is a school bag on the ground near her feet. In the center, there are 2 boys who are laughing. One of the boys has his arm raised above. On the right, there is a girl who is laughing. Page 14. FPE 4. Char Tali. Char Tali is a game to build students' alertness and make them understand the importance of society's role in stopping harassment. Warm up, head to toe stretching, activity, Char Tali, cool down, slow or static stretching, circle time, role of society. How to play. Point 1. Mark 4 lines on the ground. Line 1 is the starting line. The second line will be the warning line. The third line will be the danger line. And the last line will be the finish line. Point 2. Make two groups of 7 to 8 students each. One group will be the aggressor and another group will be the society. Point 3. One member of society will be the victim and they will stand on the finish line with their back towards the group. Point 4. The rest of the members of society will distribute themselves equally at the warning and the danger zone. In case the members of society are uneven, then the distribution should be such that there are less number of people in the danger zone as compared to those in the warning zone. Point 5. Aggressor will stand behind the starting line and move towards the finish line while the victim is not looking at them. The victim then claps 4 times. Page 15. Point 6. As soon as the victim performs 4 claps, they turn around to see if they can identify any aggressor moving. Point 7. The members of society can help by trying to make the aggressors move without touching them so that the victims can identify them. Point 8. If any of the aggressor moves, then they are out. Otherwise, the victim will turn back and clap again 4 times. Point 9. If any student of aggressor reaches the warning line, all the members of society in the warning zone will be considered out, and in the same way, if any student of aggressor reaches the danger line, members of society in the danger zone will be considered out. Point 10. The target of aggressor is to reach the finish line without being caught by the victim, and the target of society is to stop the aggressor from reaching the finish line and helping the victim. Circle time. Role of society. Point 1. Discuss how society can help the victims from the aggressors. Point 2. Discuss how it felt as a society member to fail in helping the victim. There is a picture on the top of the page of a ground divided in sections. From left to right, they are labeled as starting lines, warning line, danger line, and finish line. In the ground, there are 2 groups represented by colored dots. One group is represented by the red dot, that is towards the left, and second group is represented by blue dots, that is in the center and towards the right. Page 16. FPE 5. Conduction relay. The conduction relay is to help students understand conduction through an interactive relay race, while also demonstrating how heat transfer happens when they move their bodies and come in contact with objects. Warm up, jogging, arm rotation, and burpees. Activity, conduction relay. Cool down, quadriceps stretching and hamstring stretching, circle time, heat transfer, conduction. How to play. Point 1. Make 2 teams of 5 to 6 students each, standing 20 meters apart. Point 2. Each student will be standing as shown in the figure. Point 3. On the first sound of the whistle, the students of Team A will hold the object. Point 4. On the second sound of the whistle, the students will perform galloping for the first 5 meters, followed by hopping for the next 5 meters, duck walk for another 5 meters, sprinting for the last 5 meters, and then they will finally transfer the object to the adjacent student of Team B. Point 5. The students of Team B will feel the heat of the object. Point 6. Team B will later grip the same object but with a handkerchief or towel and perform the same activity. Page 17. On the top of the page, there are two images. In the first one, from left to right, to extreme left is the child from Team A who is galloping, then a girl hopping, another girl hopping, a boy sprinting, and transferring the object to the member of Team B. On the extreme right, there is a girl standing with a cloth in her hand. In the bottom illustration, a member of Team A runs and passes the object to Team B player who stands ready. Team B members are lined up while 20-meter mark and hoops are visible on the track. Variations. Point 1. Different activities can be introduced by the teacher. Point 2. Objects of different materials such as wooden, plastic, or metal can also be used to understand the concept. Point 3. Perform activities during different times of the day. Notes for the teacher. Point 1. Discuss the concept of conduction among the students. Point 2. Ensure the safety of the students. Circle time, heat transfer, conduction. Discuss what happened at each station and how heat was transferred or was not transferred when objects were wrapped in towels or exposed directly to the skin. Page 18. FPE 6. Motion in Action Relay. The motion in action relay is to help students understand and experience linear motion, rotational motion, and projectile motion through a relay-style activity. Students will measure time for linear and rotational motion and distance for projectile motion in both SI, International System of Units, meters, seconds, and CGS units, centimeters, gram, seconds. Warm-up, frog jump and jogging arm rotation. Activity, motion in action relay. Cool down, deep breathing exercise to control anger and anxiety. Circle time, motion, unit system, and gravity. How to play. Divide the class in 4-5 teams depending on the class strength. Each team will rotate through the stations. Station 1. Linear motion, running. Mark a straight path, say 20 meters, for the students to run. Have each team member run along the path. Note the time taken by them to cover the distance. Page 19. Station 2. Rotational motion, spinning in brackets. Mark a small cone in the center for the students to spin around. Each student will spin 3 times around the cone, then sprint to the next station. This demonstrates rotational motion. Station 3. Projectile motion, throwing in bracket. Set up a target in bracket, a large bucket or marked area to throw the ball at. Page 19. Station 2. Rotational motion, that is spinning. Mark a small cone in the center for the students to spin around. Each student will spin 3 times around the cone, then sprint to the next station. This demonstrates rotational motion. Station 3. Projectile motion, that is throwing. Set up a target, that is a large bucket or marked area, to throw the ball at. Students will throw a soft ball towards the target and the distance the ball travels in the air will be measured. After completing each station, students will record the following measurements. Linear motion, station 1. Record the time taken to run the distance, that is in both SI and CGS units. SI unit, time in seconds, that's S. CGS unit, time in seconds, that's S. No change here as seconds remain the same in both units. Rotational motion, that's station 2. Record the time taken to spin 3 times and then sprint to the next station. SI unit, time in seconds, that's S. CGS unit, time in seconds, that is S. Projectile motion, station 3. Measure the distance the ball travels. SI unit, distance in meters, that is M. CGS unit, distance in centimeters, that is cm. In all the activities, the team which finishes first at any station gets 5 points, and the second gets 3 points, and the last gets 1 point. Page 20. After the teams finish, add the points gained from each station. The team with the highest total score wins. On the top of the page, there are pictures of 3 stations demonstrating different types of motion. On the left side is station 1, linear motion. A boy runs between the cones. In the center, station 2, rotational motion, spinning. A girl spins around the cone. Towards the right is station 3, projectile motion, throwing. A boy throws a ball into a bucket. At the bottom of the page, there are 2 tables. On the left, there is a table that is recording table. There are 3 columns and 4 rows. First column, first row is station. The second column in the first row, SI unit. And the third column in the first row is for CGS unit. On the right, there is a table that is points table. 2 columns and 5 rows are there. In the first row, first column is teams, and in the first row, second column is for the points. On the left side, there is a recording table with 3 columns and 4 rows. First row, first column is station. First row, second column is for SI unit. First row, third column is for CGS unit. The remaining rows are blank. You may fill accordingly. On the right, there is a points table with 2 columns and 5 rows. In the first row, first column, it is for teams, and first row, second column is points. You may fill the points accordingly. Page 21. Variations. Change the sub-activities for each concept. Notes for the teacher. Point 1. Gather the students and discuss the measurements calculated in the activity in SI and CGS units. Point 2. Emphasize how different types of motion, linear, rotational, and projectile, occur in sports and real-life activities. Point 3. Help them understand the role of force in projectiles, speed in linear motion, and centripetal force in rotational motion. Circle time, motion, unit system, and gravity. Point 1. How did your speed affect the time you took to run? Point 2. Did you feel dizzy? Discuss among yourself about the reasons for dizziness. How did your spinning speed affect your time? Point 3. How far did the ball go? How did the angle of your throw affect the distance? Page 22. FPE 7. Breathing in action. Breathing in action is to engage students in a fun and educational physical activity to understand how breathing adapts to the physical exertion and relate it to the oxygen supply for energy production. Warm up, jogging, arm rotation, and burpees. Activity, breathing in action. Cool down, quadriceps and hamstring stretching. Circle time, breathing, energy production, and teamwork. How to play. Divide the students into teams of 4 to 5 members each. Set up 3 activity zones representing different levels of intensity. Zone 1, low intensity, that is, walking in place, slow jogging. Zone 2, medium intensity, that is, moderate jumping jacks, fast jogging. Zone 3, high intensity, that is, sprinting or burpees. Part 1, baseline measurement. Before starting, students sit quietly for 1 minute. Each student measures their resting breathing rate and pulse rate in the following way. For calculating breathing rate, count breaths for 60 seconds. For calculating pulse rate, count heartbeat for 60 seconds. Page 23. Finally, record the data in a chart. Part 2. Physical challenge. Zone 1. Low intensity. Students walk in place or jog lightly for 2 minutes. Afterwards, they measure and record their breathing and pulse rates. Zone 2. Medium intensity. Students perform moderate jumping jacks or fast jogging for 1 minute. Then they record their breathing and pulse rate. Zone 3. High intensity. Students sprint for 30 meters or do burpees for 30 seconds. Immediately after, they measure and record their breathing and pulse rates. Part 3. Recovery observation. After completing all zones, students sit quietly for 3 minutes. They measure their pulse rates every 30 seconds to monitor recovery. Record recovery time for all participants. Teams track how quickly breathing and pulse rate return to baseline after Zone 3. On the bottom of this page, there are 6 illustrations showing different stages of exercise intensity and recovery. On the extreme left, there is a child sitting quietly measuring pulse rate by placing fingers on the wrist. In the second image, Zone 1, low intensity, a child is walking at slow pace. In the third image, Zone 2, medium intensity, a child is walking more briskly with increased speed and energy. In fourth image, Zone 3, high intensity, a child is running at full speed with one leg lifted high off the ground. In fifth image, deep breathing, a child is standing with arms raised overhead, practicing deep breathing exercises. In the sixth image on the right, recovery, a child is sitting on an exercise mat with legs extended forward in relaxed position. Page 24. Sample chart. There is a table with 3 columns and 6 rows. First row, first column is for activity. Second column for first row is breathing rate, breaths per minute. Third column, first row, is for pulse rate, beats per minute. The second row, first column, resting baseline. Third row, first column, zone 1, low intensity. Fourth row, first column, zone 2, medium intensity. Fifth row, first column, zone 3, high intensity. Sixth row, first column, recovery after 3 minutes. You may fill the breathing rate and pulse rate accordingly. Variations. Point 1. Include fun elements like crawling under a rope or balancing on one foot for a few seconds during each zone. Point 2. Include breathing control exercises. breathing in for 3 seconds, exhaling for 5 to practice efficient breathing. Notes for the teacher. Point 1. The teacher will demonstrate how to check pulse from the radial artery. Point 2. Ensure that each student has a role to play so that everyone participates. Point 3. Ensure that each student fills up the chart. Circle time, breathing, energy production, and teamwork. Discuss and relate how breathing pattern changes according to different activities like running, swimming, or playing different sports. Page 25, FPE 8, Flex and React Challenge. The Flex and React Challenge is to help students understand the concept of neuromuscular control, how the brain and muscles work together to produce movement, and its relationship with flexibility through a fun and hands-on activity. Warm-up, jogging, arm rotation, and burpees. Activity, Flex and React Challenge. Cool down, quadriceps and hamstring stretching. Circle time, neuromuscular coordination. How to play. Students perform stretches while following the given instructions. While in a hamstring stretch, they must catch a ball thrown lightly toward them. While in a lunge stretch, they must touch a cone on command. Points for achieving good flexibility in stretches, 1 point. Points for correct and quick responses to instructions, 1 point. Bonus point for smoothly integrating flexibility with reaction, 3 points. The team with the maximum number of points will be the winner. Page 26. On this page, there is an image showing fitness testing station setup. At the top left, there is a clock showing the time used for timing exercises. The illustration shows an exercise area marked by a rope boundary with cones at the corner. Inside this area on the left side, a child is sitting on an exercise mat performing hamstring stretch. The child is seated with one leg extended forward and is reaching toward their toes. This is labeled as hamstring stretch. On the right side, a child is performing lunges on an exercise mat. The child is in a lunge position with one knee forward and bent and the other leg extended back. This exercise is labeled lunges. In the background, there is equipment visible including ball, cones, and on the right side, there is a board labeled performance. Variations. Point 1. Add more complex movements like balancing on one foot or performing a quick lunge on command. Point 2. Measure flexibility improvements after regular practice over a few weeks. Point 3. Pairs of students will signal movements or stretches for each other, promoting teamwork and observation skills. Note for the teacher. Emphasize the importance of proper form during stretches to avoid injury. Circle time, neuromuscular coordination. Discuss how human bodies rely on neuromuscular control in sports as well as in activities of daily living. Page 27. FPE 9. Move like a machine. Move like a machine activity is to help students understand how the musculoskeletal system, bones, muscles, and joints work to support movement and physical activity. Warm up, jogging, arm circles, and burpees. Activity, move like a machine. Cool down, quadriceps and hamstring stretching. Circle time, musculoskeletal system. How to play. Set up the stations in the following order. Station 1, flexion and extension, bicep curls. Station 2, jumping and landing, squat jumps. Station 3, push and pull motion, push-ups or resistance band pulls. Station 4, balancing, one leg balance. Arrange the stations in a circular course. Divide the class into teams of 4 to 6 students each. Start with a brief warm up to activate the musculoskeletal system, which may include light jogging, arm circles, and stretching, focusing on major muscle groups. Page 28. The relay activity steps are as follows. Station 1, flexion and extension. Students perform bicep curls with resistance band, similar type of equipment, or mimic the motion without equipment. Station 2, jumping and landing. Students perform squat jumps. Station 3, push and pull motions. Students perform push-ups or use resistance bands to pull. On the page, there is an illustration. A child is standing on a raised platform, demonstrating a setup exercise with one arm raised. On the left side, a child is standing and performing a bicep curl exercise with a dumbbell. On the right side, a child is in a running position, moving between cones. At the bottom, a child is performing a push-up or plank position on the ground. Station 4, balancing. Students balance on one foot or on a soft surface. Page 29. Teams move from one station to the next in sequence, performing the task as quickly and as accurately as possible. The fastest team to complete all stations gain 3 points. 1 point is given for proper form and execution of task, 1 point. 1 bonus point is given for smooth collaboration and mutual encouragement. The team with the maximum number of points will be the winner. Variations. Add a team-based task like lifting and carrying a lightweight object together. Notes for the teacher. Point 1. Provide clear instructions on proper form to avoid strain or injury. Point 2. Reinforce connections between the musculoskeletal system and everyday activities or sports. Circle time. Musculoskeletal system. Use a musculoskeletal diagram to review the roles of key muscles and bones in each activity. On the right side of the page, there is an anatomical diagram showing human musculoskeletal system. Page 30. FPE 10. Adapt and Achieve. The Adapt and Achieve activity is to demonstrate how the musculoskeletal system adapts to different types of physical activities such as strength, endurance, and flexibility training, warm-up, jogging, arm rotation, and burpees. Activity, Adapt and Achieve, cool down, quadriceps stretching and hamstring stretching, circle time, musculoskeletal adaptations. How to play. Set up the stations in the following order. Strength. Focus on muscle and bone strengthening exercises. Endurance. Highlight muscle stamina. Flexibility. Demonstrate joint range of motion. Recovery. Simulate how rest helps muscles adapt and grow. Divide the class into small teams. Each team rotates through the stations, spending 5 minutes at each station. Station 1, Strength. Students perform body weight exercises like push-ups, squats, or resistant band pulls. Station 2, Endurance. Students perform timed cardio activities like jumping jacks, running in one place, or rope skipping. Page 31. This page shows children performing various physical activities outdoor. Top row from left to right. First child on the left is performing jumping jacks with arm raised above their head and legs apart. The second child is jogging. The third child on the right is jumping rope, holding the rope handles with both hands. In the middle, first child on the left is starting position or ready stance, bent forward with hands reaching towards the ground as if preparing to run. Second child is squatting or doing a squat exercise. Third child in the center is kneeling on one knee. Fourth child on the right is in kneeling position while holding a rope. On the bottom, at the left, a child is lying on their back on the mat in a resting position with one arm on the chest and other on side. On the right, a child is lying flat on their back at the mat with both arms on their chest in a relaxed position. Page 32. Station 3. Flexibility. Students perform stretches like forward bends, lunges, or shoulder reaches. Station 4. Recovery. Students lie down and perform deep breathing or light stretching. Variations. Groups create their own musculoskeletal training circuit and explain how it promotes adaptation. Notes for the teacher. Point 1. Ensure that there is no competition. Instead, students will focus on participation and effort. Point 2. Provide recognition in the form of awards for effort at each station, best strength performance or flexibility star. Point 3. Encourage students to improve their personal best over time. Point 4. Briefly explain how musculoskeletal system adapts to different activities. Bones and muscles become stronger with resistance. Muscles adapt to sustain repeated activity. Joints and muscles stretch to increase muscle flexibility. Rest allows muscles to repair and grow. Circle time. Musculoskeletal adaptations. Discuss and understand how the musculoskeletal system adapts to strength, endurance, and flexibility training. Discuss and relate the adaptations to daily life, carrying groceries for strength, walking long distance for endurance, etc. Page 33. Self assessment. Read the statements and take the most suitable response for you. Appreciation for teammates. 1. I can identify the strengths and weaknesses of my teammates. 2. I encourage my teammates to overcome their weaknesses. 3. I appreciate my teammates when they overcome their weaknesses. 4. I understand that all the members of my team are different with specific set of skills. 5. I believe that team members should be distinct as well as similar for better functioning of team. Overcome bullying. 1. I stand up against bullying but sometimes ignore it. 2. I stand against bullying but hesitate in some situation. 3. I stand against bullying confidently and assertively. 4. I stand against bullying confidently and assertively and actively seek help from trusted individuals if I see it happening. 5. I stand against bullying despite any challenges because I feel bad about the victim. Overcome harassment. 1. I stand up against harassment but sometimes ignore it. 2. I stand against harassment but hesitate in some situations. 3. I stand against harassment confidently and assertively. 4. I stand against harassment confidently and assertively and actively seek help from trusted individuals if I see it happening. 5. I stand against harassment despite any challenges because I feel bad about the victim. Page 34. Concepts of physics in physical education. 1. I can identify the concepts of physics which are involved in the activity. 2. I can understand the concepts of physics which are involved in the activity but struggle with application. 3. I can use force, pressure, and many other concepts of physics. 4. I can use force, pressure, and many other concepts of physics while playing to enhance my efficiency. 5. I respect the opinions of others, actively listen, and try to make contribution to group discussions on scientific topics. Concept of biology in physical education. 1. I am able to demonstrate a deep understanding and accurate application of biological principles. 2. I am able to grasp biological concepts correctly with minor errors. 3. I show a basic understanding but struggle with application. 4. I have limited understanding and often apply concepts incorrectly. 5. I respect the opinions of others, actively listen, and try to contribute to group discussions on scientific topics. Understanding muscles. 1. I am able to identify the major muscles involved in the activity with minor mistakes. 2. I am able to identify major muscles involved in the activity correctly. 3. I am able to identify major muscles involved in the activity and note down some of the muscles. 4. I am able to distinguish the muscles which are involved in the activity and identify their position in the body. 5. I am able to recognize muscle related difficulties of my classmates and report it to the teacher. Unit 1 ends here.
Khel Yatra. You are just listening to the textbook of physical education and well-being for grade 8. Narration Swati Verma. Sound recordist Prasoon Kumar. Assistance in production Surendra Kumar. Directed and produced by Vimalesh Chaudhary. This audiobook is brought to you by CIET NCERT, New Delhi, India.